Story 1. My husband helped me through a difficult pregnancy and postpartum depression, supporting me physically and emotionally until I regained my confidence and health. My husband and I have been together for 5 years and married for 3. We've been through a lot together, and our story is one of love, resilience, and growth. After we got married, I found out I was pregnant a few months later. We were overjoyed and excited to become parents. However, my pregnancy was tough on my body. There were days when I could barely get out of bed. My husband never complained. He was my rock, comforting me every day. His presence alone was a huge help. As my pregnancy progressed, he took on more and more of the housework, including cooking most of our meals. He even prepared my favorite dishes in advance so I could have whatever I was craving while he was at work. I always made sure to tell him how much I appreciated everything he did for me. After our baby girl was born, I struggled with postpartum depression. In the following year, I gained over 30 pounds. My husband continued to be supportive and never made me feel unattractive, even though my self-confidence was at an all-time low. This affected our sex life, but he never stopped reassuring me of his love. He would bring me flowers and do sweet things for me. He did gently mention that I needed to control my eating and focus on my health, but I found it hard to stop eating unhealthy snacks during the day while he was at work. I was in a bad mental state and didn't realize I was slipping into depression. The one thing I made sure to do was to never neglect our daughter. She was always well taken care of, even when I was falling apart. My husband has always been fit, with a lean and muscular physique. When I told him I was pregnant, he installed a high-class home gym in our basement so he could stay home with me while continuing to work out. One day, seemingly out of the blue, he asked me to work out with him. Before my pregnancy, I used to exercise regularly, but it had been almost 2 years since I had last worked out. My husband planned out an entire workout routine for me and guided me through it. Exercising together in the evenings became our new normal. He also helped me improve my diet. Slowly but surely, I started to lose the weight I had gained, and I began to feel more confident in myself. A year later, I had lost a lot of the fat I had gained. I felt more confident, and our intimate life became better than it had ever been. We couldn't keep our hands off each other. I realized how much my husband had done for me. He had saved me both physically and emotionally. I was spiraling downward, and he had single-handedly pulled me out of it. My husband continued to balance his full-time job, an online business, and being an amazing father and husband. He took care of everything financially and always made time for me and our daughter. He took care of my physical and emotional needs without ever complaining. Despite everything he did for me, I felt guilty for putting him in a position where he had to take full responsibility for my well-being. Even though my husband never blamed me and always told me he was proud of me for sticking with the lifestyle change, I couldn't shake the feeling that I owed him. He had done so much for me, and I felt like there was nothing I could do to properly thank him. He managed to juggle work, business, family, and my well-being all at once. He always reassured me and showered me with love, but I couldn't help but feel guilty for what I put him through. Now, I'm trying to find a way to move past these feelings of guilt and focus on the incredible support and love my husband has given me. I want to be the best partner for him, just as he has been for me. Our journey has been challenging, but it has also brought us closer and made us stronger as a couple. Story 2. I became a psychiatric nurse practitioner but struggle to find work nearby as my husband won't relocate. My husband and I have been together for 7 years and married for 4. We have 2 young children, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. I've been a nurse for 10 years and recently completed my doctorate in nursing, becoming a psychiatric nurse practitioner. My husband, on the other hand, doesn't have a degree but has worked at an ionized chemical plant for 13 years, climbing his way up to a seniority management position. We live in rural Indiana, where job opportunities for nurses are scarce and the pay is low. I make about $60,000 to $1,000 a year, while my husband earns around $120,000 with excellent benefits. His job, however, is regional, meaning it's not a position he can easily find elsewhere. Before I started grad school 4 years ago, I had a serious conversation with my husband. I explained that pursuing my dream of becoming a psychiatric nurse practitioner might require us to move, as there are no job opportunities in our area for this specialty. I made it clear that if moving was not an option, I needed to know before investing for years and over $80,000 in a degree. He agreed that we would move if necessary, giving me the confidence to move forward with my studies. Now that I've completed my degree, it's time to find a job in my new field. Unfortunately, there are no job opportunities for psychiatric nurse practitioners near our home. The closest positions are more than 3 hours away. I've also looked into telehealth jobs, but they require at least 3 years of in-person experience, which I don't have yet. Additionally, my state doesn't allow nurse practitioners to open their own practice, ruling out that option as well. With $91,000 in student loans, I feel a lot of pressure to find a job in my field. When I brought up the topic of moving again, my husband said that moving is no longer an option. He cited his job, our low-interest mortgage rate, and the stability for our kids as reasons why we can't relocate. This was a huge blow to me. I had based my decision to go to grad school on the understanding that we would move if necessary. Now, I'm left with a degree and debt but no job opportunities in my field anywhere near us. I feel stuck and unsure of what to do next. I'm at a crossroads and feel lost about the future. I've worked hard to achieve my dream of becoming a psychiatric nurse practitioner, but the reality of our situation is making it difficult to see a way forward. My husband's job provides stability and financial security for our family, but my career aspirations and the need to pay off my student loans are also important. I don't know how to reconcile these conflicting needs and find a path that works for both of us. I'm seeking advice and looking for any possible solutions to this dilemma.
Story 3. My wife wants to move back to her hometown, but I want to stay in mine. Each of us would be unhappy in the other's choice. What should we do? My wife and I have been together for 6 years and married for 4. We have 2 kids, aged 5 and 1. We met and lived in the city, which is halfway across the country from her family for over a decade. We always talked about eventually moving either near my family or hers. My family, except for my sister, lives in the suburbs about a half hour from where we used to live. Less than a year ago, we bought a house just a few minutes from my parents. The house was expensive, and we bought it near the top of the market. I knew it would be a big transition for my wife because she doesn't know anyone in the area except for my parents, and she was also reducing her work schedule, which was another adjustment. It was her choice to reduce her work schedule. I work in big law. I don't enjoy my job, and I often feel unappreciated and poorly treated, but it pays well. I've developed a thick skin over the years, and although I complain about my boss and the work, I've accepted that this is my career. For about 6 months now, my wife goes through periods where everything bothers her. She won't talk to me and seems depressed. Every month, she finally tells me she's miserable living here and wants to move closer to her family. I tell her I understand, but my job is here. We just bought a house and would lose a lot of money if we sold it now, and my family is here, and I don't want to leave my parents as they get older. My parents are fantastic people who help us a lot and have been there for me during my lowest times. Additionally, her parents are divorced and can be difficult as they compete for time with her and our kids. In other words, she's miserable living here, and I would be miserable living there. Yesterday, she told me I should be open to moving because I hate my job. I have family where she's from, and I need to think about the future when my parents are no longer with us, and we'd be alone here. I responded that I would hate this job anywhere. My sister has her own life with her kids and friends there, and I don't want to leave my parents at their age. She hasn't spoken to me in about 24 hours now. I don't know what to do. I don't want her to be miserable because it's not good for her, me, or our kids. But I also don't want to be miserable because my mental health has always been fragile, and I'm worried about testing that. I'm going to look for couples counselors today in hopes that they can help us bridge this gap. But I feel hopeless and depressed. She hasn't even given this life a chance yet. We've only been here for 10 months. She make friends and find a happy medium, I'm sure of it. But she needs to be patient and give it time. I'm at a loss, and any thoughts or suggestions would be much appreciated. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more new relationship stories.